Also, throughout this day, you may see that my home is very messy. And for that I say, please don't judge me or I will cry. Billy, I'm filming. Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've decided to do something I've never done before, and that is a 24-hour readathon. So basically I've seen this thing where people will just like pick a random day and read for 24 hours straight. And I've always thought that would be an interesting idea, but it never really fit into my schedule. But this weekend, Aaron has gone camping with his friends. And so I was like, you know what, while he's gone, I feel like I could just read for 24 hours. And this is gonna be a little bit of a chaotic vlog because I actually have like a shit ton of chores to do today, and I'm also dog sitting for one of Aaron's friends that's gone camping. So this is really just gonna be how many audiobooks can Sarah listen to in one day? Because I have to do part of a DIY, I'm dog sitting, I need to clean a little bit, I need to go take a shower, I need to do my hair. I have a lot that I've got going on today. I'm not really sure what genre I'm feeling. I'm thinking thrillers, maybe some romance. Just any book that's under 10 hours for an audiobook. So yeah, let's see what happens. Just basically gonna take you around all day with me while I do these things. It is, I believe, 11:45 right now. So I'm gonna go take a shower and we're gonna start at noon. So I'll take a shower, then we'll do my hair and I'll listen to a book while I'm doing my hair, and it'll be a whole thing. Okay, so to get the reading started, I looked in my Audible library to see if I had any books that I hadn't listened to yet, and I discovered The Passengers by John Marr. I bought this, I wanna say like in December, because it was on a couple of people's favorites of the year. I know that Riley has read it, and Katie Coulson, and maybe Gabby Reads. A few people have mentioned this book before, but it is a British thriller about a like futuristic time period when cars are now self-driving and someone hacks the cars, and so there's a couple of people stuck in the cars, and then like there's some sort of connection to social media where like the hacker is making people vote on who they want to survive the crash of these cars. That's my understanding of what's going on in the book. I just started it, and so far we've been introduced to a pregnant character who just got in her self-driving car, and she honestly was a little like cautious and afraid to get in it, but there's also some drama between her and her husband. Like, she's pregnant, but she just thought to herself like, I can't believe you did this to us. So I'm assuming that the husband cheated. Anyway, I'm gonna do my makeup now, and so I just kind of in the mood to do something fun. I have a bunch of gems and some fun eyeliner, so I kind of want to try to do some like flowers to match my shirt. I really have no need to be wearing makeup around my house today, but I am going to be filming a lot of clips with you guys today, so I just kind of want to look cute. So I'm gonna do my makeup and continue listening to the book, and I think my food is coming soon. I ordered Grubhub, so I will also eat that. I might not eat that on camera.
Which you would take her even further from her destination. The only thing you need to know at this point is that in 2 hours and 30 minutes from
across his face, and it made his olive complexion appear darker. Despite his fatigue, this beautiful spring morning, as it will likely be your last.
I can't figure out if this is a trust the process situation where I should continue to add more flowers to my face, or if I should just take these off because they look so bad. Okay, I trusted the process, and I actually think the end result is kind of cute. Also, I don't really know why I chose to do art on my face when I'm going to be reading all day and I might like lay down, but it's fine. It's fine. Also, I'm a little farther into The Passengers, and so far we've been introduced to a very wide cast of characters. So a lot of people are stuck in these cars. We have an actress, we have an Indian woman who can't speak English, which is super scary. We have the pregnant lady that I already mentioned. We have a guy who was like watching like an old video of like, I think like his ex-wife or like a wife that passed away or something. Then we had a couple who were in 2 different cars, and they seemed to have some like beef, like it was their anniversary and like they weren't getting along. Again, I'm telling you, there's something about British thrillers. Why is British thrillers always such a hard word to say? Anyway, there's something about them where there's always like marital troubles. Like, are the British people okay? Like, are your marriages okay? We just met a character who actually doesn't like cars that drive themselves, and so she's not even inside one yet. So I'm not sure how she's gonna be woven in, but I'm really intrigued so far. I really like the audiobook because there's a lot of narrators, and also they are playing like newscastings in between, so I feel like if you were reading that, it would be fine to read that, but listening, they put like the sound effects and stuff, so it actually sounds like the news, and so it's kind of feeling like I'm watching an episode of Black Mirror, which is fun. So I'm gonna go do my hair, and I'm gonna continue to listen And yeah. Okay, listen. I haven't done any of the chores that I was supposed to do today. Like, I was like, this is gonna be such a chaotic vlog. You're gonna see me doing all these chores, and like, you saw me do my makeup and that's it. But I'm almost done with The Passengers by John Marr, and this is good. This is good. I do not normally like British thrillers, and I'm always surprised when I find one that I like. I don't know why. A lot of them tend to be like domestic issues and whatever, and I'm always like, okay, it was probably the husband. But this one is so complex. It's so interesting. Like, I'm pretty sure I guessed who the hacker was. Like I said, I have about an hour left of the audiobook, so I'm not sure if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure I am. And I want to say I guessed it really early on. I can't obviously say that because I don't want to spoil the book for you, because it's really good and I think you should read it if you haven't. It's just, it's one of those thrillers that's just like, it reads like a TV show. Like, it's giving an episode of Black Mirror. It's so good. And so, yeah, instead of doing all the chores I was supposed to do today, instead I laid in bed and listened to this audiobook. So there's that. Also, I lost a gemstone on one of the flowers, RIP. I think I might read another John Marr book after this, because The Passengers is just so good. It's giving the experience that I want. This is what I want out of thrillers. If you know any like books like this, let me know down below, because I'm just having a great time. Okay, so I finished The Passengers by John Mars. I feel like I've been calling him John Marr this entire video, but his name is John Mars. So I finished that and I really liked that. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It was a really good thriller. I feel like it just offered something different than I'm used to in a lot of thrillers. It was like a little bit more creative, so I really enjoyed that. There were a lot of points where I thought the book was about to end and it just didn't, so that was a bit weird, but overall 4 stars, really enjoyed it. And so I'm just in a John Mars era right now, so I decided to move on to The One by John Mars, because it actually is referenced a lot in The Passengers. So essentially The One is about this DNA test that you can get where it will tell you what your soulmate is. In The Passengers, that test actually existed, so they referenced like DNA matches a lot, and because I already knew he had this book, The One, I got the references. But I think if you were going to read them in order, you should read The One and then The Passengers, even though the plots and the characters have nothing to do with each other. Just like the science of like the cars comes after the science of the DNA match, if that makes any sense. But I'm really liking The One so far, because what makes it a thriller is that we are following a couple of different characters that have found their DNA matches in their different stages of life. The thing about it is that you can take the test, you could already be married, you can get matched up with a gender that you didn't think you were attracted to. Like, things can just really change your life if you get your DNA match. And so one of the characters is actually a serial killer. Like, you find that out immediately when his character gets introduced, and he is DNA matched with a police officer who's like on the case of the things. And so that's kind of the thriller aspect. And then the other characters are slowly but surely just like finding out who their matches are. Obviously one of them is very like murder thriller vibes, but then the rest of them are kind of just like interesting stories. And so I'm really liking it so far. I don't know if I like it as much as The Passengers, but I do like it enough that I would probably at this point give it 4 stars based on like what I think of it so far. I think I have about like 3 hours left of the audiobook. It's about I think like it's like 8:55. Oh, it's 9 p.m. right now. I thought it was 8 p.m. Hopefully this vlog is being entertaining for you. I feel like I've never filmed so many clips in one day, and so I feel like I keep looking like I'm sitting in the same spot and just like looking the same, and I don't know if it's interesting. But I'm enjoying the thrillers I'm reading so far, and hope you're enjoying the vibes. I just finished The One by John Mars, and I think I'm gonna read his entire backlist. I think he has about like 3 more books that I could read, and I'm not gonna read more for this vlog, but I'm definitely going to read the rest of his books this year because I really liked The One. The One was so much more than a thriller. Also, you know what I realized while I was listening to it? I love a dramatic thriller. Like, if you like No Exit, I think you'd like John Marr's books. Like, I just love one that makes you feel like you're watching a crazy episode of like Black Mirror, or like a crazy episode of like an action movie. I don't really know. Like, it's just, they're giving. Like, you have to suspend belief a little bit. Like, I just like that kind of energy, like that unhinged behavior. And there was a really cute romance in this. Like, that's what I was saying. I felt like it was more than a thriller because it had to deal with like soulmates and stuff, and all the different perspectives. There were definitely some perspectives where there was like some romance happening, and I just really enjoyed it. Like, not every single timeline was like a thriller timeline. But it is 12:35 a.m. right now, and I am probably going to start another book because I'm alive. I'm feeling like I want to start another book. I will actually take my makeup off, so the next time you see me, I'll look even worse than right now. And on Libro FM, I found that I had downloaded an ALC of The Woman in the Library by Sulari, Gentill. I've never heard of this book before, but I looked up reviews really quickly, and a couple of people that like follow me on Goodreads, like, you know how it shows you like your friends' reviews first, like gave it a pretty high rating. And so I was like, I kind of read it. All I know about it is that it is a twisty literary adventure that examines the complicated nature of friendship and reveals that words can be the most treacherous weapons of all. I don't know what that means, but one of the reviews I saw said it's like a thriller within a thriller, and I was like, okay, it sounds interesting. I also absolutely love the cover. I think the cover is so cool looking. And yeah, I'm gonna go probably take my makeup off and get ready for bed and probably just listen to this in the dark in my room and play a game on my phone. I love playing games on my phone. Like, that's something I love to do while I listen to an audiobook.
I should have mentioned I'm a vegetarian. Oh shoot, I should have asked. But there's so many of you around nowadays, I should have thought to ask. I can pull the pepperoni off. You did nothing of the sort.
Okay, so it's 6:45 a.m. right now, and I honestly haven't slept that much, and not because I was reading. I think I read until about like 2:30 a.m. and then I was like, all right, I'm actually super tired, so I'm just gonna go to bed because I stayed up really late the night before. So I was like, you know what, it's fine, I'll just like wake up earlier. But unfortunately, okay, in this clip I just ramble for a really long time about the fact that my dog Billy has diarrhea, and that's why I stayed up all night. So I'm just cutting that portion out. I'm just gonna insert this clip instead. But I was up all night because Billy had diarrhea and I wasn't reading. That's what you need to know, TLDR. But now it's 6:45 and I feel like I can't fall asleep, so I guess I'm just gonna go back to reading. I had started The Woman in the Library, and so far I like it. I'm not loving it as much as the John Mars books that I was reading. I feel like The One and The Passengers were both just really good, like both 4-star reads for me. And this one, so far, the writing is different. I think it's odd when you go from reading 2 books in a row with like a wide cast of characters to reading something that's more like just based on one character. I mean, I know that's how most books are, but like I feel like I was just really enjoying the thrillers where there's like so many perspectives and so many timelines to be like keeping track of that it kind of keeps you on your toes. But what's interesting about this book is I know I read like a brief little sentence out of the blurb to you yesterday, but essentially what this is about is it is about an author writing a book, and you're reading her book, but it's the author writing it. It's very Inception. So the book starts with a letter from a guy named Leo, and he's American, he lives in Boston, and he's writing to an author that's really successful who lives in Australia named Hannah. And basically he's kind of commending her on how like well her last book is performing. Like, he's been seeing people buy it at the bookstore, blah, blah, blah. You're kind of led to believe that they're colleagues, and he's writing to her because they have some sort of long-standing relationship as authors. Like, they write to each other. Like, he's not published, but she's published, so there's a lot of talk about that. And so that's how the book starts. And then in the second chapter, we're introduced to a character named Freddie, who is also an Australian author, and she's sitting in the Boston Public Library, and she's trying to think of an idea for a story. And so then you kind of realize that the story that you're reading is the story that Hannah, the other Australian author, is writing. So Freddie's fictional, so you're reading about fictional Freddie, but then there's Hannah, and then there's Leo, who's like writing her letters in between chapters. And so something that's interesting is that Leo kind of comes off, in my opinion, as like a super fan. Like, he's giving like creepy vibes sometimes, like the way he writes to Hannah about her writing. I'm just like, okay, like, do you want to like drink her pee? Like, why are you like so obsessed with her? And so his chapters are like kind of weird. I mean, they're not really chapters, they're just like brief letters between each excerpt of Hannah's story about Freddie. And the story of Freddie, again, this is very confusing to explain because it is very like story within a story within a story. So the story of Freddie is that she's sitting in the Boston Public Library trying to come up with like her next novel idea. She's like a mystery writer, and then they hear a scream, like just echoing in the Boston Public Library, and she's like, oh my god, what was that? And so she ends up meeting these 3 other people who are like also in the library. 2 of them are like grad students. Like, I think one of them's in law school and one of them's like studying psychology, and then another one is like a fellow writer. And so they all kind of just like bond over the fact that they heard this scream, and it's really weird. They're like, why would someone be screaming in the Boston Public Library? And so they start hanging out and they become friends. And then later they find out that the scream was actually because a girl was murdered in the library. But it's really weird because when they heard the scream, the security officers came in and they were like, oh, it's nothing, we didn't find anything, I don't know why somebody screamed. But then later find a dead body, like from the cleaning crew. So it's very confusing because they're like, how could someone scream and be murdered in the library, but then no one saw anything? And like, how did no one find her body? And so they, as a friend group, are kind of like, that's super weird. And then Freddie is using that Boston Public Library story to write her story, which you don't actually read because that would be way too meta to be reading that as well. But Freddie like will be thinking and talking about it because it's first person from Freddie's perspective. So she'll be thinking about like how she is writing this story about the Boston Public Library while Hannah, the real author, is writing about this. And then in Leo's letters between chapters, he's basically giving Hannah feedback on her chapters as she sends them to him. But what's really weird about Leo, in my opinion, like I said, he's coming off very super fan, very creepy, is he corrects her all the time because she's Australian, he's American. So like if she writes the word jumper into the story, like if like one of the American characters in her story is like, oh, like Freddie, your jumper or something instead of sweater, he's like, oh, Americans wouldn't say that. And he keeps correcting her on things where sometimes I'm like, I don't even think that's a big deal. Like as an American, like I think that's fine. Like, I don't know, like obviously jumper, sweater, sure. But there was like some other thing where he told her to refer to a prank call as a crank call. And I was like, I feel like that's a regional thing because I would call it a prank call, not a crank call. I don't know, he's getting very nitpicky. Like he keeps like mansplaining to her how like winter in Boston works because like she had a scene where they were outside and one of them wasn't wearing gloves and he's like, no one in Boston would ever be outside without gloves on. But I think the point is you're supposed to see Leo's like critiques getting weirder and weirder as the book keeps going. That's like the vibe that I'm getting. So his letters, even though they're not really part of like the mystery that's in the story, are kind of almost like they feel menacing to me sometimes because he's also not published yet, and so he keeps reminding Hannah that he's not published yet, and he like asks her if she can like send his writing to her agent, and he's just like really weird about it. But I really like the concept so far. I will say again, after reading John Marr's books, I'm not like vibing with the writing as much because I feel like his books were very much like, oh my god, I'm being given like multiple perspectives and like they're all crazy and I want to know what happens to each one. And now when I'm just reading Freddie's perspective and I'm kind of limited to like what she's discovering about this like Boston Public Library murder, it's like more limiting. And also I know that her story is not real because it's written by Hannah. So it's like, I don't know. I'm confused, I'm interested. But that's where I'm at in the book so far. Like, how much have I listened to so far? I don't really remember. I listened to all of my audiobooks on 2x speed, so the number that I'm going to give you is not really based on how it actually is. So it says I have 3 hours left of the audiobook, which I guess is like probably like 6 hours actually. And I'm on track 12 of 35. So I guess I'm not quite halfway. It says I'm 30% in. I don't know why I didn't just like read the percentage. I should have just literally like read to you what it said. I went on every single data point except for where it says 30%. So it is well past 12 now. It's 2 p.m. and I finished reading The Woman in the Library, I want to say around, I think I finished it around 10 or 11 a.m. So I still had a little bit of time left to start another book, but honestly, I'm not feeling well today. I feel like I was up all night with Billy, and then on top of that, I'm on my period. I don't care if it's TMI. I got a copper IUD recently, and overall, I really like it, but when I'm on my period, the cramps that I get, ungodly. Like, there is no God. Like, they feel so bad, and I'm not someone that's used to getting cramps. Like, I just never really got them even before I ever took any form of birth control, and when I was on the pill, I definitely had very easy periods, so being, you know, on the copper IUD is definitely a different experience, but I do like it so far. Other than that, like when I'm not on my period. So I'm just like in a lot of pain and my stomach kind of hurts. And so I feel like reading 3 thrillers is pretty good for 24 hours. I definitely enjoyed all of them. So my final review on The Woman in the Library is that I really liked it, like 4 stars. It definitely will be on my list of thrillers that I recommend to people. What I really liked about it is the kind of Inception-y vibe that it has. Like, it is a thriller within a thriller within a thriller. Like, we have our author writing a thriller about an author writing a thriller about an author writing a thriller. Like, it's really complex, and I like that. And I really actually liked the letters in between from that guy Leo. Was that his name? I said it earlier, whatever that guy's name was, because like I was saying earlier, like he was kind of creepy and his letters just kept getting progressively creepier. And so I loved that that was like an added suspense on top of the story that I was already reading. And then I really did enjoy the direction that the mystery went. It was just a really good like whodunit, like murder mystery sort of situation. And there was a lot of twists and turns, and I just really liked it. Like, it wasn't like I saw like 5 stars or anything, but I felt similar to it the way that I felt about The One and The Passengers, and that it was just like a very solid, like, I will recommend this 4 stars. And so I feel like this vlog was a success. I don't know how interesting it's going to be. Also, I was going to post it today, Today's Sunday. I normally post on Sundays, but I don't feel well, so I'm not gonna post today. I probably will try, if I'm feeling better later tonight, to edit it and then upload it tomorrow. That's going to be my attempt. I try to upload when my analytics say that people are online, but sometimes videos do well and sometimes videos don't do well, so I actually don't really know the science of when I should be uploading, but Sunday has been my chosen day. But I'm just not feeling good right now, so I've been watching Charmed in bed for the last like hour or two. I have been on a major Charmed kick because I read Finley Donovan is killing it. I think that's the first book in that cozy mystery series, and the cop character in that book reminded me so much of Andy from Charmed, and I have not watched Charmed since I was like a kid. Every day when I would come home from school, I would put on TNT and I would watch an episode of Charmed, an episode of Angel, and an episode of Law and Order SVU, and that was my after school ritual every single day. So that is how I got into Charmed and also Angel. I was actually into Angel before I was into Buffy, if we want to talk TV shows. But I loved Charmed so much when I was younger, and I've seen most of the seasons. I think some of the later seasons, like, I think there's like 8 seasons. I think like 7 and 8, maybe I haven't seen as much of that. But I randomly was reading the Finley Donovan book, and I was thinking that guy reminded me of Andy, and I swear to God, it was like 1:30 in the morning and I was laying in bed, and I was just like, I wonder if Charmed is streaming anywhere. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, it's on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, you can watch it. Also, even if you don't pay for Peacock, you can watch Peacock with ads. So you can watch Charmed, whether it be with ads or without ads. So I am midway through season 3 right now, and I'm loving it. I'm just vibing watching Charmed. I actually hadn't been reading as much lately because of how much Charmed I was watching, so I really am glad that I did this vlog as kind of a reset to my reading, to just like knock out 3 books. I've also been wanting to increase the number of thrillers I'm reading by a lot. If you have any thrillers that you think I would enjoy, please recommend them down below. I recently read The Push by Ashley Audrain, and I really did not like that book. It's so crazy because that book is like critically acclaimed. Like, everyone is obsessed with that book. They're like, best thriller ever, and I just really hated it. Like, it was literally like 1 star for me. Not my cup of tea. I don't know why I brought that up, besides to say, like, I did try another thriller lately and it was not for me, but luckily these 3 thrillers, that's a tongue twister. Luckily, the books that I read in this vlog were a hit. So if you have any recommendations for me, please let me know down below. And if you like Charmed, you should go watch it on Peacock. I feel like those are my final thoughts. I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. I don't really know how it's gonna come out once I edit it, because I don't really think I took that much b-roll, but it'll just be a talking vlog. We don't need any artsy shots. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.